Welcome. Well, it's up, Chicago. Welcome to the Bears Huddle podcast with me, your host, Owen James, channel that brings you your UK take on our Chicago Bears. Look, it's the running back question again. It keeps coming up. We keep getting linked with free agents. We keep hearing that the Bears are looking for a new free agent running back. Or is it that they've got enough? Is it that Dondre Swift, Roshan Johnson, Carmen Ongai, Ian Wheeler, etc., Travis Homer, is that enough? Is that what that Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles will see as enough for this season? Do we have to take the attitude that we can't do it all in one off season? It has to take over time, and this is not I don't think a Super Bowl winning team at this moment in time, but that is something that could certainly be added to with that final sprinkling of the running back, which is often seen as being that extra piece on top. The Eagles themselves did that, didn't they? I'm not that I'm liking the Bears, the Eagles at the moment, because the Bears are better, but the offensive line, they did the defensive line, they added the wide receivers, they added the quarterback, they added the cornerbacks, they added the safeties, and then finally they put Saquon Barkley in to complete their jigsaw, their championship jigsaw, didn't they? Is that what the Bears will do? I don't know. But look, the latest stories that are emerging from NFL insiders is that the Bears are taking an interest in former Los Angeles Chargers running back JK Dobbins, also former Baltimore Raven JK Dobbins. So what's the truth in this? What's the story? What's the story? Morning Glory, as one English rock band once famously sang. Look, the Bears were very interested in getting hold of a running back, weren't they? They wanted obviously to get Ashton Genty, but obviously that the price to trade up was way too high. They then obviously looked at trading up to get the likes obviously of Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, etc. That didn't happen. Caleb Johnson, that didn't happen. Cam Scatterbo, that didn't happen. So we came out of the draft with Carmen Ongai, the 7th round pick. Look, Carmen Ongai, if you watch him, if you go and watch his tape, if you look at some of his stats, looks like a hell of a player. He really does. It's just, I suppose, his top line speed that kind of lets him down. But, he's averages 5 point. He averaged at Rutgers. This is not averaging this at Ohio State or at Michigan or Georgia or Bama. This is averaging 5.1 yards per carry at Rutgers behind a line that has no NFL bound or future NFL bound lineman in it, in one of the top conferences in college football. So look, he is a bit of a beast, isn't he? I mean, no fumbles in his college career either. Big beast of a guy, breaks tackles, good player. It could be that, in Carmen Ongai, we unearthed a rough diamond that with the right polishing and shining will become a valuable asset for the Bears. However, there is the continuing stories around obviously being NFL insiders saying that the Bears were looking at Nick Chubb. That was one. Then there was the reports that came out from a pretty reliable source that Jamal Williams had been brought in for a workout, the guy who had one good season, but that was under Ben Johnson at Detroit. Now the stories surround former Baltimore Raven and former Los Angeles Chargers player JK Dobbins. Look, there is a question mark over the running back room, quite clearly. Ben Johnson has been backed by Ryan Poles, by the Bears organization. He's been given a new wide receiver, a new tight end. He's been given a newly built offensive line. He is an offensively minded head coach. The offense is now actually higher on the salary outlay than the defense, which for a Bears team is quite highly unlikely. But, I think there is a kind of desire from Ben Johnson to create, as he did with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in Detroit, to have a double-headed backfield monster. Obviously, he's got Dondre Swift, Roshan Johnson, Carmen Ongai, blah, 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 Ian Wheeler. But the talk is that J.K. Dobbins could add to that and be part of that two-headed monster. Now, there's no doubt that J.K. Dobbins is a very, very talented running back. He is a quality player in the NFL. However, obviously, the one concern over J.K. Dobbins is his injuries. He does seem to miss an awful lot of games. He is 26 years old as well, so he's not over the hill. There's a good few years left in JK. He's younger than Nick Chubb, for example, younger than Jamal Williams, younger than Gus Edwards, all players who've previously been linked with the Chicago Bears. Now, a number of NFL insiders think that the perfect place for J.K. Dobbins to continue his career and then blossom even further in his career is with the Chicago Bears, due to the offensive mind, obviously, of Ben Johnson. As much as the Bears will probably look to pass the ball this coming season with Caleb Williams, obviously, being one of his main strengths, and the outstanding receiver core with Odunze Moore and Burden, and the tight ends of Cole Kmet, and, of course, top draft pick Colston Loveland, there is still, I think, a firm belief that the Bears will want to pound the ball and they want to run the ball. Now, DeAndre Swift is obviously one possibility. Will he do better this season behind a better O-line with a better offensive coordinator? Possibly. But, this is something that JK Dobbins could really bring to the party if, and this is the big if, he can stay healthy. He has suffered six major leg injuries in the last decade. That is not good. 6 major leg injuries in 10 years is bad news. And, any one of those injuries could have seriously ended his career or impacted his career, but he has come back from those injuries. He even started getting them in his senior year with Ohio State. He broke his leg. He suffered ligament damage in his ankle. He's had ankle sprains, ACL injuries, ACL meniscuses, hamstring tears. He's had multiple surgeries over those 10 years. So he really is kind of like the bionic man, the topped up, the kind of patched up man, isn't he? He had Achilles injury as well. He popped his Achilles in week 1 of 2023 season, missed the whole of the season. Last season he had a knee sprain. He is a guy who really does suffer with injuries, and that is going to be one of the major worries about JK Dobbins. So, that's the big worry for me around JK Dobbins is what is the situation with his health, and can the Bears keep him healthy? Because, if they can't, it's money down the drain. It's not a good use of financial resources. I mean, if we look at the guy's stats, you can see that he's missed a lot of games. Obviously, his first season, 2020, he played 15 games, started one of them, 134 attempts, 805 yards, 9 TDs, 56.7% success rushing rate. Yards per carry was about 6 yards per carry, pretty decent. But then the next 2 seasons, you can see a real fall off in the number of games that he played. 8 games played and started in 2022. 1 game in 2023, and then last season he played 13 games and started 11. So even though he had a better record last season, he still missed a number of games due to that knee injury. 195 attempts, 905 yards, 9 TDs last year, 47 first downs, 42.6 success rate, 61 yard long, 4.6 yards per carry. Also in the receiving game, he had 38 targets, 32 receptions, 153 yards, 4.8 yards per reception, 6 first downs. So, the figures for last season are pretty good. They're pretty decent. They are spot on. But, like I said, the concern is over the guy's health. That is the big issue for me with JK Dobbins. I'm not saying that JK Dobbins is not a good player. I'm not saying that if he came to the Bears and he stayed fit, he would be a valuable asset. Like I said, my big worry over JK Dobbins is that injury history and how much time he misses. That is just a massive one for me and a massive worry. Now, obviously, another off-putting thing at this present moment in time before training camp is the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers put a free agent tender on him. Put an unrestricted free agent tender on JK Dobbins, which could be off-putting for the Bears in terms of signing him. So look, this unrestricted free agent tender will end when training camp starts. So if the Bears could wait till then, that is obviously something that would obviously not be as costly to them, but it is a concern. And like I said, the injury side of it is the big concern. And like I said, I'm not saying he's not a good player, because he quite clearly is a good player. And I think, if he was fit and if he was constantly fit, he would, certainly help the Bears. But I am very, very concerned about his injury history. Guys, let me know your thoughts on JK Dobbins. What do you think? Good idea? Bad idea? Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching the Bears Huddle podcast. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're up to 200 subscribers now. Thank you for your phenomenal support. As always, guys, let's bear down. See you later, Chicago.